Welcome back to the B-Jack 70 show. I'm your host, Brandon Jackson. And it was a two and three weekend. And maybe, the real 5-0 and 4-1 weekends were the friends we made along the way. Wasn't in the cards for this weekend. Thought it was going to be a good betting weekend. And we'll get into it. But before we get into it, real quick, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. Appreciate all you guys being here, watching, telling your friends, telling everybody on TikTok, telling everybody on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, wherever you social media, send a link. Share it, share it to your page, tell a friend and tell a friend. We're still over this way, we're still 60% against the spread through 9 weeks of the NFL season. Still better than your favorite better. It was just a little bit of a down week. The bottom never falls out over here. 2 and 3 is the worst that we've been. And I'm saying we because I'm including you. I'm including the viewer. I'm including, everybody that's subscribed to the channel, but it's really just me. But I'm including everybody. But over here, still 60%, still rolling strong. Bottom never falls out. 2 and 3 is the worst it's been. So we'll take a couple of those to get a 3-2, to get a 4-1, to get a 5-0. We're looking for that 5-0, and it's gonna come. It's gonna hit, and it's gonna be a great week whenever it does hit. But we're gonna recap it. We're gonna talk about it. But again, if you're here, I appreciate you watching. Like the video, subscribe to the channel, let somebody know what's going on over here. Let's just get into it. Let's just get into it. Let's start with a winner. We'll start with a winner. San Francisco -2.5 against the Giants. That hit, and that hit all day. That was a good pick. Shout out to Kyle Shanahan and the San Francisco 49ers. The Giants season ended in Denver. Or I don't know, I don't remember if it was in Denver, but it was against Denver. Their season ended as soon as they lost that lead, lost that game, and then on top of it, the next week lost Cam Scatterboo. It's a wrap for this Giants team. So if you see me betting positively the Giants way, no, you didn't. You didn't, because I'm not gonna do it. Um, I mean, obviously, we'll see what happens in the future, but I don't anticipate betting positively on the Giants in the near future. So so yeah, it's gonna be rough. Jackson Dart still performing as a fantasy football quarterback though. So shout out Jackson Dart. Next, the Colts -3 at the Steelers did not hit. Will I'll be back. I'll be back to talk about it later in the video. Trust. The Patriots -5.5 against the Falcons. Patriots won, but they didn't cover. Um, it is what it is. Falcons played a little bit better than I thought they would. It had a chance. Falcons Falcons missed the extra point at the end of the game. So if we could have, maybe the Patriots try to go down and score a touchdown. Maybe it goes into overtime and they score a touchdown. We'll never know. John Parker Romo from the Falcons missed the extra point, messed the bet up. So it is what it is. You win some, you lose some, but you live. You live to fight another day. R.I.P. Pops. Next up, got the Chiefs -1.5 at the Bills. They lost. They lost. They lose. They lose this Buffalo regular season game every single year. And I keep betting the Chiefs side every single year. For what reason? I don't know. I like the Chiefs. I'm a Chiefs fan. I'm a Chiefs guy. But it's not working. It's not working in the regular season. I'm gonna have to think about it. Next year they'll play again And, I might take the Bills next year, and that'll be the year that the Chiefs win and they'll blow them out. It'll be something crazy, but, that's way far in the future. But Chiefs didn't look good. Buffalo got crazy pressure on Patrick Mahomes all day. Couldn't get anything going in the run game. Bills got everything going in the run game. James Cook ran all over the Chiefs. Josh Allen ran all over and through the Chiefs. And it was what it was. Do I think the Bills are a better team than the Chiefs? I would have to see it to believe it in the playoffs to think that. I would have to see the Buffalo Bills ahead on the scoreboard with 0-0-0 on the clock for me to truly believe it. But this was good for the Bills. The Bills needed this statement win. They had a huge win over the Panthers last week, which now I'm kind of thinking is a better win than I gave it credit for, because the Panthers out here 5-4, actually playing good football. But Bills, they made a statement. They said something. They said we're here. They said we're still here, and we are a real contender. So shout out to them for doing that, because I thought it was a little iffy, thought it was a little shaky, but you know they proved me wrong. They proved me wrong, at least in the short term. But yeah, that -1.5 for the Chiefs did not hit, and the Seahawks -3 at the Commanders was a winner. Was a winner all night. Uh, you know the huge news coming out of there: Jaden Daniels broken arm, dislocated elbow, whatever you want to call it, might out indefinitely, might be out for the season, may not be, but at this point, the way this Commanders team looks, it might as well be out for the season. Don't rush back to get back to these bums. They went all in on this season after what Jaden did last year, and it did not work out. Terry McLaurin in and out of the lineup, mostly out of the lineup. Luke McCaffrey got hurt first play of the game. Uh, Defense not looking good. Running game non-existent. Bill, no matter who you got there back there, Bill, Chris, McNichols, is nothing's happening back there. Um, it's rough. It's rough. It's really, not what we thought the Commanders would be doing this season. And, we always say that like development and progress in the NFL for teams isn't linear. You could have a great year one year and the next year fall back, and then you may never reach the heights that you reached in year one. Uh, or was generally early in your career, as Dan Marino about that. Going to the Super Bowl your second year, you think you are hot shit and you're going to be there every year. That was the last time you went, the only time you went. So I'm getting ahead of myself. I don't want to, RIP the Commanders' future prospects, but this year it feels like they're done. Feels like they're done. Um, and especially seeing your quarterback going down like that is it's tough. It's tough to watch. And then on the other side, the Seahawks are for real. Seahawks are for real. They are a good team, great defense. Sam Darnold doing what he needs to do. Jackson Smith and Jigba. We may have to have a conversation. We, we may have to have a conversation. I'm not ready for it, but that he's forcing my hand. He is forcing my hand about being the best receiver in the NFL. This is getting ridiculous, bro. What Brian Hartline is feeding these receivers in Columbus, Ohio, whatever he's doing, whatever sorcery and witchcraft that he is doing in Columbus, I appreciate it as a football fan, but he needs to be investigated. This is crazy. Marvin Harrison just went off. I'm recording this after the Monday Night Football game. Marvin Harrison went off. I'm gonna talk about Jeremiah Smith later, Jackson Smith and Jigba. If we could get Garrett Wilson a quarterback, he might he we don't know. We don't know what could be happening. But that's a whole thing. But these Ohio State receivers are absolutely going crazy, and a conversation might need to be had at some point about Jackson Smith and Jigba and that number one spot. But I'm not quite equipped for it today, and that's a me problem. That might be me. That's definitely a me problem, but I'm keeping my eye on it. But the Seahawks as a whole, they're here for real. I'm gonna get into I'm gonna give you my top teams in the NFL because it's the halfway point right now. So I'm gonna do a quick snapshot of what I think who I think the top teams are in the league later on. But yeah, that was a recap of Brandon's bets. 27-18 on the season against the spread, 60%. Haven't been under 60% all season. So I'm giving you winners, consistent winners, better than your favorite better, man. I'm, at this point, if you want to roll, you can roll. If you don't, you know, I wish you the best of luck wherever you're gonna go, whoever you're gonna bet, whatever you're gonna tell. But I got great people rolling with me. I got great people on my side. You know, shout out my guys. You know who you are. I appreciate you. Um, and yeah, we're gonna keep this thing rolling. So, fraud alert, fraud alert, fraud alert. And I'm talking about I know I know I know that one team I'm talking about, but the first team I'm talking about that I'm going to get into, the Green Bay Packers. I have chosen the Green Bay Packers on this channel to be the NFC representative in the Super Bowl, and you've seen me on this channel be the highest of high on the Packers and the lowest of lows on the Packers. And I really don't know what to feel other than to call them fraudulent because they get out here, they're in Green Bay, they put up 13 points against the Carolina Panthers. They play the Carolina Panthers, and I'm looking at the stats here. Panthers only scored 16. So the defense did their job. Bryce Young didn't have a good game. 102 passing yards, one interception, but they let Rico Dowdle go for 130 and two touchdowns. They let Rico Dowdle absolutely go buck wild on them. And apparently this isn't just a Green Bay thing. Rico Dowdle has been balling out of control. So I'm I'm not gonna give the Packers too much hell for letting Rico Dowdle do what he's doing because he's been on an insane heater. I don't know what they have going on in the run game, but whatever's going on, they got Rico Dowdle playing like a top five back in the league. But you gave up no passing yards. You gave up a lot on the run, but on offense, you got nothing going. Josh Jacobs had a decent game, 17 carries for 87 yards and a touchdown, but Jordan Love, it's not terrible, 26 for 37, 273 yards, no touchdowns, but you got the interception. You got sacked one time. How are we not putting points on the board, Jordan Love? and I picked Jordan Love to be my MVP. You can't be MVP. You put up 13 points against the Green Bay Packers. You can't be the MVP when you go against a defense as bad as the Dallas Cowboys and you tie. You put up points against the Cowboys, thank goodness, but you tied. And you lost to the Browns. You lost to the Cleveland Browns. You can't be MVP doing those. And I've given up hope on that dream. Packers are 5-2-1. They're still a good team, and Carolina is obviously better than we gave them credit for at the beginning of the year. Both those things can be true, but this can't happen. This kind of performance from Green Bay can't happen. Um, I don't have too much to say other than that. It just can't happen. Shout out to the Carolina Panthers. Shout out them. They did what they were supposed to do. They came in, they the spread was double digits and they won outright. So good for them. But this Green Bay Packers team, they really got some soul searching to do because they play extremely well against the people that they're supposed to play, like against the great opponents, against the good opponents. Like against Pittsburgh, they're playing against Aaron Rodgers for the first time. They're on 10. Sunday Night Football, they're on 10. The offense got it going. They're attacking Aaron Rodgers in the backfield all night and they get it done there. But then next week you come out, you're flat, you score 13 points against the Carolina Panthers. You're not doing what you're supposed to do. Jordan Love throw the interception on his stats that he threw was egregious. That was a terrible interception. I think if I'm remembering correctly, it was on fourth down. Um, I could be wrong about that. I believe it was on fourth down, but the fact that you're in that position anyway that you got to make a desperation heave on fourth down just to get something going against the Carolina Panthers is a situation that these Packers should not be in. But they're not even the biggest frauds because I still believe that they could at least win a playoff game. The defense is too good. There's a lot of talented players and pieces on that team. So I'm not giving up hope in the Packers just yet, but I had to acknowledge them losing against the Panthers is just something that shouldn't have happened. The real frauds, the real frauds, the Indianapolis Colts go to Pittsburgh and lose 27-20. And if you watch this game, which I watched all of this game as it was happening because, my Browns are on a bye week. The score is closer than it actually was. The Steelers dominated the Indianapolis Colts all day. Sack after sack after sack after turnover after interception after fumble after interception. Took me 8 weeks of the season. I watched 8 weeks of the season, and I watched the Indianapolis Colts go 7-1 through 8 weeks of the season. I came on this exact podcast, this show, this camera, this microphone, this chair, this jersey in the background, and I told you, you know what? It's about time that I finally put some respect on the Indianapolis Colts name. it was about time for me to acknowledge them as a good team, as a real team in the AFC. They were 7-1. Their offense was unbelievable. They were efficient. They were well coached. They were a well oiled machine. And I said, you know what? My knowledge of what has happened in the past with Daniel Jones be damned. I'm going to look at the data in front of me and be presented with that information. And you know what? I am going to adjust my prior view of what this team, what I thought it was going to be, and I'm going to respect what they're doing because they had proven it week after week, offensive performance after offensive performance. The game that they lost, I don't even remember what game they lost. I think it was the Chargers, like right at the end. Chargers kicked a field goal, won, like, but it was still a good offensive performance from the Colts. I sat here and I gave Daniel Jones credit in which I thought he deserved. And this fucking bum decided to show up on Sunday in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, and throw three interceptions and fumble three times. Lost two of them, but he put the ball on the ground three times and threw three goddamn interceptions. Trust me and believe me when I say this. I will never, ever trust Daniel Jones as a football player ever again. And I say as a football player, what I really mean, I will never trust him to 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 be the quarterback of a football team, to wash my laundry, to wash my car, to serve me at a restaurant. I won't trust him with shit ever again. Ever again. You can trust and believe that. I give you I give you my word. I will never fully trust Daniel Jones ever again because I watched in New York. I, I saw what he did as a New York Giant, and I was watching what he was doing as an Indianapolis Colt. And I said, maybe he's turned a corner. Maybe Shane Steichen really is that good. And I look like a damn fool. What was I thinking? But I'm telling you, it'll never happen again. It'll never happen again. Da- Daniel Jones. Daniel Jones. You know, he threw for 342 passing yards, and that looks kind of impressive, except when you consider that it was for 6.8 yards per attempt average, 31 of 50 attempts. He threw one touchdown, yay, good for him. Good for him. He ran for a short touchdown as well. Good for him. Good for him. Um, but like I said, three interceptions, five sacks taken, three fumbles. This Indianapolis Colts team had six turnovers. Five of them were because of Daniel Jones, and one of them was from Josh Downs. Six turnovers. Six turnovers. And I'm not even going to talk about the Steelers. The Steelers are still bad. The Steelers got 6 turnovers from a bum ass quarterback, bum ass team, fraudulent ass team, and they only won by 7. They frauds too. That little 5-3 record, Ravens gonna walk y'all down. I'm sorry. If you're a Pittsburgh Steelers fan and you happen to be watching this, I'm sorry. Lamar Jackson and the Baltimore Ravens is walking y'all ass down. And I hate to be the one to tell it to you, but it's true. Y'all team sucks too. Y'all just happen to win against the most fraudulent team to ever have been 7-1 at this point of the season since y'all did it. The Steelers, y'all went 11-1, 12-1 that one year. I don't remember what year. Was it 2020 when the Browns beat y'all in the playoffs? Was it that year? That team was the biggest frauds until last Sunday. And the Colts took the fraud championship. Colts cashed in their money in the bank briefcase to become the world champion fraudulent football team. It's just them, Oos. Day one ish. It's just them. Congratulations to the Indianapolis Colts. Never again. Never fucking again. Now, on a lighter, more positive note, I'm going to give you my top 8 teams halfway through the season. And I'm not going to give them to you in an order. I'm just going to give them to you because I don't know what the order is. I don't even know who I think is 1, 2, 3. I'm just going to give you the top 8 teams that I actually really respect and kind of believe in through 9 weeks, halfway through the season. Um, and yeah, we can discuss. So the top 8 in no order. This is not an order. This is just the 8 teams. The Los Angeles Rams, the Philadelphia Eagles, the New England Patriots, the Buffalo Bills, the Seattle Seahawks, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, and coming off of losses still, the Kansas City Chiefs and the Detroit Lions. Those are the teams that, some way or another, I do actually believe in. I do actually respect what they've done, what they've put on film, who they've beaten, and even in spite of who they lost to, they're the cream of the crop, if you will, of the NFL. And you notice I don't have the Packers in there. Um, Losing to the Browns and losing to the Panthers, I can't put you in there. They're probably 9. They're probably number 9 if I went to 9 teams. But I'm just going with my MySpace top 8. My MySpace top 8 in whatever order. But just going through them. The Rams defense, their defensive line, Matthew Stafford playing out of his mind, Puka Nakua, if he could just please stay healthy. But if he doesn't stay healthy, Devontae Adams, still that guy, catching touchdowns all over the place. They're good. They're a real team, and I feel like they're gonna win. I think they're gonna win the division, but Seattle's gonna have something to say about that for real. Um, Philadelphia, they're the champs. They still got Jalen Hurts. At 12:16 a.m. on November 4th, 2025, AJ Brown is still an Eagle. We'll see what happens. This will be posted. This will be posted Tuesday morning, before the trade deadline. We'll see what happens the next time I get on camera and talk to you if he's still an Eagle, but I think he will be. They have weapons. Saquon had a great game the last time we saw him. We'll see if he can continue that momentum, but they know how to win. Plus, they got the tush push, which can't be stopped either by teams or the referees. So they got a unbeatable special move. They got an unbeatable finisher that you can't block, you can't stop, you can't reverse it, you can't do anything. The refs won't call it right. So Eagles got a dangerous weapon. It's 1st and 9 every time you line up. So it is what it is. New England Patriots, Drake May, halfway through the season, Drake May, MVP. It sounds crazy, but it's kind of true. It's kind of true. They're finding ways to win these games, and they Mike Vrabel has done wonders on that culture in New England. I don't know what Gerard Mayo had going on over there. I guess being the first guy to take over after Bill Belichick wasn't a great option, but Vrabel feels like they wanted Vrabel this whole time. They got him. They got their Patriot guy. They got the Patriot way mixed with Vrabel's way, and they're making magic. They're creating a great culture. Stephon Diggs, Mr. 12 baby mamas, catching touchdowns, playing great. They're doing their thing. They're doing their thing. I don't know what Travion Henderson has done to Mike Vrabel and Josh McDaniels. Um, but they need to figure it out. They need to figure it out with him. He so deep in the doghouse. He's running behind. I don't even remember his name. That's how bad. That's how bad he's buried in the depth chart. He's running behind dudes' names that I don't even know. So, but anyway, Patriots are doing well despite not using Travion Henderson and Ramondre Stevenson fumbling every other time he touches the ball. Buffalo Bills, like I said earlier, statement games these past couple weeks. They still got Josh Allen. Running game is amazing. Doesn't they're throwing to whoever they have on the field. They're throwing touchdowns to all these tight ends. Kincaid, Dawson Knox, Keon Coleman. Is he what they hoped he would have been with the 35th ish overall pick? No, but he can still grow. Khalil Shakir is cool. Um, Elijah Moore making plays here and there. It doesn't matter. They got Josh Allen throwing him the ball, and Josh Allen is making everybody relevant. He's bringing the team up with him, and it's a recipe for success because they've been able to do that ever since he became elite. So seems to be seems to be what is going to keep happening. Seattle Seahawks. That's just a really good team. They're executing, they're coached well. They got all types of defensive depth. Reek Woolen went to a Pro Bowl, now isn't even playing because they got better DBs than him. They just keep finding talent. Cooper Cup didn't play. They still roasted the Commanders secondary. Jackson Smith and Jigba might be the best wide receiver in the NFL, but you know, they're a good team. They're a good team. Tampa Bay Buccaneers coming off a bye week. We'll see how healthy they get off of the bye week. We'll see what Chris Godwin's doing. We'll see what Bucky Irvin's doing. Um, but Baker Mayfield was playing well. Not particularly well in that last game before the bye, but throughout the whole season, been playing well. See if he can get that momentum back. Emeka Ibuka has some time to rest. Um, and he was playing lights out up until he got banged up a little bit. But I still trust them. The Chiefs, they got 15. As long as they got 15 healthy, I'm not counting them out. They got 15, Patrick Mahomes, Andy Reid, they'll be okay. They'll be okay. Demon Home, Rasheed Rice has been outstanding since he's come back. As long as they got him, Xavier Worthy's healthy. They ran up into a buzzsaw in Buffalo, and that was what it was. But Chiefs, they'll be okay. I'm never gonna count them out until it's the playoffs and they've been eliminated. Until that happens, I'm not gonna count them out. And then the Detroit Lions, I'm not counting the Dan Campbell team out. Jared Goff, the Lions offense have been struggling a little bit, need to find their footing. They did lose against the Vikings, but I still trust them up to a point. Jared Goff is very good. Jameer Gibbs, maybe the best running back in the NFL. Didn't show it this past Sunday, but I still believe in him. Amon-Ra St. Brown, 7-11, always open. Jamison Williams caught an amazing touchdown. Finally getting him involved, which Dan Campbell said he wanted to. Hopefully their defense can get a little bit healthy. Hopefully their defensive coordinator, uh, is it Kelvin Shepard? Yeah, hopefully Shepard can, stay focused on the task at hand. May I don't know if LSU wants him to be their head coach, but he's definitely somebody they should think about talking to. But hopefully, for the Lions' sake, you know, keep that tunnel vision. Not worried about that right now. Um, but yeah, not in order. Those are my top 8 NFL teams through 9 weeks of the season, halfway through. So I want to finish on a couple of college football topics, and it's not that Hugh Freeze got fired from Auburn. I don't really have much to say. I don't watch too much Auburn football. We'll see who they end up getting. It's a lot of SEC jobs open right now, which is interesting, but that is what it is. I want to talk about the number one team in the country right now, and what Julian Sand is doing and what Jeremiah Smith is doing. Jeremiah Smith is, this is easily, without a shadow of a doubt, he's easily the best player in college football right now. Full stop. I don't think you can debate it. I don't think there's anybody you can put up next to him and actually say that they're better than he is. Jeremiah Smith would be producing on an NFL football field right now. If you just said, "Hey, we're done messing around. We need you to come play wide receiver for the Cleveland Browns right now." He's the best wide receiver in the room, bar none. He's the best wide receiver. I'm just thinking about this now. I didn't plan it, but he's probably the best wide receiver in a good number of NFL locker rooms right now. He's unbelievable. He just think about the guys in the NFL currently that played wide receiver at Ohio State. You got Terry McLaurin, Marvin Harrison, Jackson Smith and Jigba, Garrett Wilson, Chris Olave, Emeka Ibuka. You got all those guys. You could reasonably say he's, well, you could actually 100% say, as a prospect, he's better than all of them. As a draft prospect, going into the 2027 NFL draft, he's a better prospect than all of those guys. Will he be a better receiver in the NFL? than all of them. I don't want to say all of them, but given what we've seen so far, I can say I think he'll be better than Terry McLaurin. I think he'll be better than Garrett Wilson, even though it may not be fair to say because if we could see Garrett Wilson with like a top 12 NFL quarterback, we might see some crazy shit. So I don't want to, you know, say definitively, but even still, I think he's probably better than Garrett Wilson in the league. Marvin Harrison, what we've seen so far, I I feel like Jeremiah could produce more. I don't think he's dropping wide open passes like Marvin has in this second year. And Emeka Ibuka, he's been playing amazing. He's been playing amazing. But I'm gonna take Jeremiah Smith over Ibuka a lot. I'm taking over Olave. Again, he's another guy. If we see him with a better quarterback, who knows? But along with his injury history, I'm taking Jeremiah over him. It is at this point, given what we've been seeing all year from Jackson Smith and Jigba, it is a real competition between JSN and Jeremiah Smith. But as a prospect, Jeremiah clears all of them. But, obviously he's not in the NFL yet, and we don't know how he'll produce in the NFL, but my God, we just need to get him. He doesn't need another year of college. He doesn't need to waste a year next year just waiting it out so he could get that third year of college just because he has to. It's not necessary. There needs to be a committee of people in the NFL that you can lift their case to these guys, and if it's a unanimous vote, like just like 10 people. I don't know if it'll be like scouts or GMs or former NFL players or whatever. Just a 10-person committee. And if you state the player's case to these guys, and if it's unanimous, if it's 10 out of 10 that they don't need that third year of eligibility in college football, if they could go early, if they could go after 2 years, if they say that they can, then they can enter the draft. There needs to be something because, and they got to be. It has to be buttoned up. Like they can't just be putting people in the NFL all willy nilly. Like it has to be a special case. Like it's got to be the Maurice Clarets. It's got to be the Adrian Petersons. It's got to be the um. It's got to be the Jadavion Clowneys. It's got to be the Jamar Chases. It has to be the Jeremiah Smiths. When you see it, when we all see it, it's just got to be like, hey, don't even worry about it. Don't even worry about it. You'll be playing on Sundays next year. It's got to be something that we need to look at because there's no reason this young man needs to be playing college football for one more year. It's actually not fair to these are people's kids. These are mothers' sons out here getting dominated by number 4 in scarlet and gray. And it doesn't it doesn't need to be like this. But I'm just it's never gonna happen. So I'm just talking, but it'll be a fun idea. It'll be a fun thing to think about. Julian Sand is playing much better than I anticipated, and I expected a lot. I was very high on Julian Sand coming out of high school. Even when he went to Alabama, I was like, well, they got another one. They got another 5 star. They got another superstar quarterback coming, and then he came to Ohio State, and it's like, wow, that was a coup. That was a crazy coup that they were able to to get Julian Sand out of the transfer portal. Thank you, Nick Saban, for retiring, because now we have one of, if not the best quarterback in the nation throwing to the best wide receiver, and two of the best wide receivers in the country, if not the best two. So thank you, Nick Saban. Julian Sand playing outstanding. He's playing way, way better than than a true sophomore, than a first year starter. Like, he's doing extremely well. And they've brought him on slowly. And that game against Penn State on Saturday, he just let it loose. He just let it loose. He's throwing with confidence, with accuracy, with zip. He's amazing. He's amazing, and he's putting his Heisman case together for sure. But the last thing I want to talk about, and I won't spend too much time on it, but I have to acknowledge the Colorado Buffaloes and Deion Sanders. Colorado is getting their asses whooped. They've gotten blown out the last 2 weeks by Utah and Arizona, and it hasn't been close. The team, it looks like the team has quit. This team looks like a night and day difference from last year till this year. There's no leadership, there's no resiliency, there's no grit on this team. And I would like to say, maybe, and I'm not the only one to say this, has been said on Twitter already, maybe that there was a reason that Shador Sanders and Travis Hunter got their jerseys retired in Boulder, Colorado, because what they did last year, they got this team to 9 wins. This team might be back to being the worst P4 team in the nation, especially with what they put on film against Utah and Arizona. This team is terrible. They can't choose a quarterback. They don't know what's going on defense. You know, and I can put blame on Dion as well. Some of his game management has been god awful. It hasn't come up the past 2 weeks because there's been no game to manage. There's no, the clock hasn't come into play. They've been blown out from the word go. So I don't know what they can do. I'm wondering, because I would assume that Deion Sanders, no matter what the record is, Deion Sanders being there, Colorado being fun, what they've been able to do the last couple years, him being there probably trumps you firing him and trying to get a another different football coach in there. Because what coach wants to come follow Deion Sanders and try to re-resurrect that program? I don't think any coach worth his salt would want to take that job. There's no reason. There's no reason to. Like, Colorado was the worst P4, P5 team for a reason. And Dion came there, gave the program life. Just so happened His son was an amazing college quarterback, and he was able to recruit one of the best all around athletes and football players in recent memory in Travis Hunter to come play football there. And they filled in the gaps with some other very good wide receivers, and they were able to make some highlights year one, even though they only won 4 games, and then year two win 9 games. They were able to do that. And that might be the hallmark, the high point of this program, of the Deion Sanders era. I don't know how long the Deion Sanders era is going to last at Colorado. Um, I don't know how other programs view Deion Sanders as a head coach. I don't know if anybody would want to take Deion Sanders from Colorado, because I'm sure if somebody wanted to, I'm very sure he would leave this program in a heartbeat. Because this team, the way that they've played for him, the way they've showed up the past 2 weeks, it's embarrassing. It's embarrassing, and you hate to see it. You hate to see it, but my God, I just wanted to acknowledge, maybe we didn't give Shador and Travis enough credit for what they were able to do in Colorado, along with Jimmy Horn, along, excuse me, with Will Shepard, along with LeJontay Wester, along on the other side with Cam Selman Craig. The team is terrible. The team is terrible, man. The team is dog shit. Um, but yeah, I just had to come and say that. And that's a wrap. That's a wrap on the episode. Thank you for sticking around. Thank you for watching. Thank you for supporting. I appreciate you for being here. And again, if you're still here, go ahead and hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. Um, and yeah, we'll be back on Friday with another episode of Brandon's Bets. If anything crazy happens during the trade deadline, I'll be back. I'll be back for an emergency pod if need be. But if not, I'll be back on Friday. Brandon's Bets bringing you a 5-0 week. And yeah, until then, we'll see you.